All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a very special crypto talk, crypto presentation, whatever you want to call it, that I'm doing tonight. I have never done it this way before, but there's a reason. There's a reason why. So we are doing this on Zoom and also Facebook Live, but I think I made an error on Facebook Live. I think I'm broadcasting from the wrong location. I was moving fast, but this is being recorded. So it is live on Facebook. I'm just not exactly sure where, if it's on my homepage or if it's on my my Teach Me Crypto page, but I don't know. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. This is Brandon Ivey from Los Angeles, California. As a disclaimer, I am not a licensed financial advisor to be giving financial advice. I read the news, give my opinion, share suggestion, and it is up to you to make an informed, intelligent decision on which direction you want to move into. Now, the reason why I am doing this special tonight is because I am seeing some warning signs that is causing me to react. And for the last 3 years, I've been doing crypto talks or some version of it since the summer of 2017. I've been doing this on a consistent basis. So I'm able to see the news of the day, see what's going on in the crypto market, see the trends that's taking place, and that keeps me up to date and informed so that I can be, a good consultant in this space. I know what's going on. And lately I've been seeing a huge trend, something I expected to happen. I just didn't expect it to happen this soon, this quick. And it's already happening right now, which also moves my time frame up from the summer of 2021 that I think the rocket ship would take off to probably the end of first quarter, beginning of second quarter of next year. So we're talking March and April, if not before. We are literally in uncharted territory right now. When I look at the crypto market cap, Bitcoin is at $16,700 a coin. It is up 4.8% over the last 24 hours. It's up 9.1% over the last 7 days. Compared to its all-time high, it is only 15% off its all-time high. That is huge. In fact, one of these reports talks about the fact, well, I'll get to it, talks about the fact that Bitcoin has only been this high for 16 days in its entire lifespan over the last 11 years. 16 days out of 11 years. So to say that we are in uncharted territory is an understatement. But what that also does, it brings on attention from people who have been ignoring the space or not paying too much attention to it, that they're going to start paying attention now. And it also creates FOMO, fear of missing out. It's also bringing back people who got involved in the space in 2017. And they got involved around October, November, and December when Bitcoin was on its all-time run-up and high. And then it dropped in 2018. And those same people, especially the ones that lacked education, they didn't understand the crypto market. They didn't understand trading. They didn't understand market trends and how things go up and down. All they thought was that they lost money because they broke one fundamental rule. You always buy low and sell high. Instead, they bought high. And they either sold high or they held, and the coin dropped all the way down. And they've been holding ever since. And now that Bitcoin's coming back up to those levels, they're paying attention again. So first things first, is this a crypto market run? The answer is no. It's not a crypto market run. When you look at the crypto market cap, it's at 483 billion, up 4.3% over the last 24 hours. That's new money coming into the space. That's new money. Traditionally, when you see Bitcoin price moving up and down, it's because whales are playing the tether game. They're looking at tether. They either move their money into tether for safekeeping when the market is high, and then when the market drops, they move it out of tether back into Bitcoin to gain more Bitcoin. They play, I call that the tether game. But when you see this number moving up, that's new money coming into the space, and that money is going primarily into Bitcoin. Maybe a couple of the other coins, but look at Bitcoin's market dominance. It's above 64%. For us to be in a crypto bull run, Bitcoin's market dominance needs to be at 50% or below. 50% or below. So this is a Bitcoin, and I will call it a flash run that's taking place right now. And I would say that this is being fueled by institutional investors. And to me, it looks like a setup that they're doing. It looks like a setup. They're coming into the space, running the price up. And then when the market corrects, they're going to have huge sell orders. But they've got everybody in the community all into a frenzy that they all start putting their money into Bitcoin as well, buying on the high. And then what happens? When the market dips and falls down, then they're going to come back into the market and buy up all the loose sleeves, the shaky hands. Those are inexperienced, and those that are inexperienced are going to scream foul. They're going to scream they got scammed. They're going to scream they lost all their money. But this is a plan. That's what I think is going to happen, because I believe the market needs to drop at least one more time. For the person that says, Brandon, what do you mean this is not a crypto run, but a bull run? Well, again, if you go to CoinGecko.com, you click on all-time high, you'll see that Bitcoin is catching up, but the other coins are not. Ethereum is 67% from its all-time high. Ripple, 91%. Litecoin, 79%. Bitcoin Cash, 93%. Cardano, 91%. EOS, 88%. Monero, 78%. Tron, 88%. Stellar, 90%. So these other altcoins have not caught up yet, which means this, and I tell you guys now, it's going to be rare for any of you to become a Bitcoin millionaire outside of you owning one whole Bitcoin and holding it until Bitcoin is worth $1 million one day. However, you can become a crypto millionaire from these altcoins. They can make you a multimillionaire. You're going to get much greater returns on those than you will on Bitcoin. But you do want to own at least one whole Bitcoin. But what is sounding the red alarm for me? Well, I am in the process, if you don't know, I have my own crypto education platform called 3-Course Crypto. And these are courses that I created, literally the majority of them, well, maybe 50% of them I created back in 2018. And then I did more earlier this year. However, and those were really how to trade crypto, how to trade Bitcoin this year. So not really new information in the space. I'm in the process of doing research, and I'm creating 5 more courses on top of the 3 that I already have. And one of the main courses that I'm doing that has about 15 videos, maybe more in it, is designed and geared towards institutional people and the wealthy. See, up to this time, all of my crypto talks, everything that I've done is about the little guy, teaching the little guy about this space so that we can get our piece of the pie. But there's something else that we also know. The wealthy are going to get into this space. And I said it 3 years ago. There's ever going to only be 21 million Bitcoin in existence. 21 million. What happens? Well, there's more millionaires and billionaires in the world today than there are Bitcoin. So what happens when they all figure it out and decide that they all want one whole Bitcoin? They can afford it. It's pocket change to them. There's not enough Bitcoin to go around. So what happens to the value? It skyrockets. There's more than 100 million active Bitcoin wallets right now. Active meaning they have some Bitcoin in it around the world. It could be $5 worth, $50 worth, $200 worth. But just from the active wallets, not every active wallet can own one whole Bitcoin. It's not possible. And this hasn't even gone mainstream yet. You hear about PayPal is now making Bitcoin available to 340 million of their customers. who aren't in Bitcoin or involved in it at all. What do you think's going to happen? Well, let me tell you, in my research, here's what I found. And I found that the wealthy are on the move. One thing about millionaires and billionaires, I never listen to what they say. I follow what they do. But I do, when they do say something, I read between the lines, because they're calculated in when they say something publicly. They know that whatever they say can impact their business. It can impact their stock, their board of directors, their stockholders. So it can impact them financially. So they're very calculated on what they allow to be recorded of them saying publicly. And I'm starting to see them speaking a lot just in the last 24 to 48 hours. Let me show you some of the things I've been seeing here. This is a big one here. Is the government quietly hoarding Bitcoin? Or this one, big tech execs and Bitcoin. Skype co-founder keeps personal wealth in crypto. Intercom chairman firmly jumps on the Bitcoin wagon. You know, I wonder if Facebook is flagging me right now because I'm talking about Bitcoin in this way, because I'm not doing it from my crypto accounts. I wonder if that's why, because I don't see anybody on the Facebook Live. And I am live. It's interesting. Anyways, I've been promoting this all day. I think that's why they're watching me. Then you got top crypto strategists bullish as number of whales invested in crypto assets hits all-time high. Why this Wall Street fund quietly signaled? Oh, that's interesting. Kawhi says it's not showing up on Facebook on your end. If you were to just go to my page, do you even see it? You know what? Let me do this. Very interesting. So they are flagging me. I'm going to do something just to see if because I definitely, this is not one I wanted to be flagged. So let me stop that live stream, and I'm going to create a new one. And let me be generic. Let's see if Facebook still tries to flag me. They always do this when I'm doing something good. Okay, because I've got it. It was sharing in all my groups. But it's all right. Let's try this again. But you guys are here on Zoom, and I'm recording this, so nobody's going to miss out on anything that I said previously. All right, let me just put, like I would normally do, crypto education. No, not crypto. Yeah. So education and compound interest. Let me leave it at that. Go live. Again, thank you guys for taking time out of your schedule for being here. This is very, very important information that you want to know. All right, it says that I am live. So let me share screen again. Okay, so let me do a double check. So if you guys can now type in the chat box if you see me live on Facebook now. Let me go to my profile, Teach Me Crypto. All right, it says I'm live. There it is. I see it. Now, do you guys see it is the question. There we go. Now let's see the people popping on. All right, for those of you that's hopping on Facebook right now, I've been speaking now for about 15 minutes, and Facebook, for whatever reason, had me flagged and was not sharing my live. I am doing this through Zoom as well, but it is being recorded, so I don't need to repeat what I've been talking about for the past 15 minutes. I will give you just a quick. Wait a second, I hear myself. I'll give you a quick overview that I showed that we are in uncharted territory right now with Bitcoin price hovering around $16,700 a coin. It's only been this high 16 days. The whales are on the move. Do you know why the price of Bitcoin dropped from $20,000 in 2017? I'm going to tell you why. CBOE and the CME came online December 17, 2017. Institutional investors. They hit the reset button on Bitcoin. Why? Because they saw that retail investors, aka broke people, they saw that they got Bitcoin from 0.008 cents a coin to $20,000 without institutional investors. They did it without them. So they came on board and bet against Bitcoin and dropped the price all the way down to $3,000 a coin, and they bought the dip. You guys understand that? They bought the dip. They set it up. I believe they're doing the same thing again. They're creating a situation where they're forcing the market high right now because the market still needs to drop at least one more time. I don't know when that's going to take place, and I don't know how low it's going to go. I didn't think Bitcoin was going to get this high right now. But it's going to happen at least one more time, and when it does, they're going to buy the dip again. So, one thing that I also shared before the live came on is that I've been seeing this over the last 24, 48 hours because I'm also doing research on creating new crypto courses. And look at this. Is the U.S. government quietly hoarding Bitcoin? Top crypto strategists bullish on Ripple as number of whales invested in crypto asset hits all-time high. Why this Wall Street fund quietly signaled its intention to invest in Bitcoin. Quietly signaled its intention. Big tech execs. Co-founder of Skype keeps personal wealth in crypto. Intercom chairman firmly jumps on the Bitcoin wagon. What I am seeing is that the billionaires know exactly what's going on. They're nervous about the current state of the world. They're nervous about the United States election, COVID-19, global economy, stimulus money being printed out of thin air that's going to devalue the US dollar. And they're not stockpiling gold. They're stockpiling Bitcoin quietly. Now, in my research on the new courses that I'm creating, one of those courses is designed for the wealthy, for CEOs, for board executives, for people who own Fortune 500 type businesses, because we're designing a course to teach them why it's in their benefit to want to start to integrate Bitcoin into their ecosystem, meaning accept payments for their product, goods, and services, pay their employees in crypto, and even create their own token for their brand. That's going to be the future. So I've been doing research on that, and I found out more information on top of these articles popping up left and right. Every time I turn around, there's a new article about some new billionaire that's doing something. So tonight, I want to share a couple of these articles. At the same time, I'm going to give you a sneak peek on one of the courses, one of the lessons. I'm actually going to do it live. And the lesson hasn't even gone live for purchasing yet, but I'm going to do it live to show you guys what the billionaires are doing. We need to pay attention. You know my old story about the river of money. The wealthy people are in the middle of the river with the biggest fishing nets. And when the river of money changes course, all they do is pull up anchor and they float with the river while everybody else has fishing poles on the banks of the river, and the river dries up and we're still trying to fish for money out of little ponds, not realizing the river dried up and moved course. The river is moving course right now. And now the billionaires, instead of fighting it like they've been doing for the past 5-6 years, they're embracing it now. And they're doing so publicly. So first, let me look at this one here. Billionaires. This week, 2 well-known tech executives revealed they have been dabbling in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Whenever you hear them say dabbling, that's BS. They are neck deep in it. In a recent interview, Skype co-founder Johan Talon detailed that he held Bitcoin and Ethereum in his personal finances, while the Intercom co-founder Ogan McCabe tweeted on Sunday that he's jumped firmly onto the Bitcoin wagon. We're not talking about your broke cousin Pookie on the corner, Bubba Ray in the barber shop, or you know, we're about to have Thanksgiving dinner with your uncle. Hey, y'all still in that Bitcoin stuff? I'm like, you still working? The wealthy are moving. If you ever want to be successful, find somebody in the field you want to make money in and follow what they're doing. The wealthy are moving. In 2020, a number of popular tech executives and CEOs from giant firms have revealed. That doesn't mean they just started. They've been doing this. They're just now revealing it because they feel comfortable enough not to feel threatened. You got to put yourself in the mind of a billionaire. They don't feel threatened by competition, so they're revealing this. On Friday, the co-founder of the telecom application Skype discussed a couple of donations he made in the past, leveraging Ethereum and Bitcoin. Skype's co-founder, Jean Talon, sent 350 Ethereum, 158K to the London-based organization Faculty AI, and in March 2020, Talon donated 50 Bitcoin. Okay, you don't donate 50 Bitcoin if you don't have a stash. All right? 50 Bitcoin to the group. You don't just, I'm going to give 50 Bitcoin. First of all, 50 Bitcoin is worth more than 850K. I don't know what they're talking about here. Anyways. Faculty AI won 800K from the UK Home Office in order to develop an artificial intelligence system that detects terrorism. Well, maybe, yeah, well, 10 Bitcoins, 100K. Okay. 10 Bitcoins more than 100K. Yeah, 50, yeah, that's about right. He opted to donate the crypto directly because if he cashed out the digital assets, he would be liable for capital gains. He's right. You know what that means, though? They're hoarding their Bitcoin. They're not trying to cash out right now. So he's smart. He just gave himself a huge tax break. Instead of donating cash, he donated the Bitcoin. These guys are smart. Says, I would like to announce that after years, and look at the word he used, dabbling. You haven't been dabbling. I've jumped firmly onto the Bitcoin wagon, McCabe tweeted. In a tweet that followed, McCabe noted that he's been listening to the Pomp podcast, Pompliano, and one in particular that features the Bitcoin evangelist Robert Breedlove. Mad love for all the Bitcoin freaks, McCabe added in another tweet. A great number of Bitcoiners welcomed McCabe into the space, and a few individuals told him that he was still in the early adoption phase of Bitcoin. Look at this list. The Talon and McCabe news follows a number of prominent executives getting into the crypto space and discussing the benefits of Bitcoin in 2020. Executives like billionaire Stanley Drunkenmiller, the Bond King, Jeffrey Gundlach, and well-known fund manager Bill Miller, billionaire investor Paul Tudor Jones, and even the actor Kevin Hart jumped on the Bitcoin bandwagon this year. Alongside this, U.S. Senator Cynthia Lummis sees a lot of promise when it comes to the innovation provided by the crypto economy. Let me stop right there. Is this an isolated incident? Well, let's look at this one. Top crypto strategist is bullish. Number of whales invested in crypto assets hits an all-time high. Widely followed trader and crypto strategist Scott Melker is saying he's bullish on the fourth largest cryptocurrency. So he's talking about Ripple there. Okay. What else? Who else? Melker's bullish call comes as crypto intelligence platform is reporting substantial growth in the number of whales invested in Ripple's native asset. Okay, so this is highlighting whales are getting into Ripple, not just Bitcoin. Why this Wall Street fund is quietly signaled its intention to invest in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is up 60% in the past month alone. This performance makes it the best performing macro asset hands down. So if you're an investor and you've got money, do you ignore the best performing asset, period? No. And these guys are just not, see, the news is reporting on this, but they're not just now getting in on this. It's no surprise that considering this performance, investors want in. While retail interest in the crypto market has yet to pick up, as Bitcoin is not yet past its $20,000 all-time high, Wall Street investors are increasingly signaling their support for Bitcoin. Just recently, a multi-billion-dollar fund on Wall Street revealed that it may invest in crypto, namely Bitcoin. The fact that they even say that means they already are. Former White House officials and Wall Street investors are also bullish on Bitcoin. If you've heard the name Anthony Scaramucci in recent years, you likely know him as the Trump White House official that turned his back on the administration just days after he was appointed to communications director. Besides the controversy, he's a prominent investor and entrepreneur. He began his career at Goldman Sachs, making his way up to the bank's private wealth management division as a vice president. After leaving the company, Scaramucci launched Skybridge Capital, an alternative investment fund that has garnered billions in investments. Tech analyst Kevin Rook recently revealed that on Friday, Skybridge filed an amendment to its investment mandate that allows their $3.6 billion fund to start investing in Bitcoin. So when you see Scaramucci on TV running his mouth against Trump, and you think he's like some old Italian mafioso, this dude has access to billions. Okay, and he's about to he's going to be far more wealthy than Donald Trump is in the next 5 years. The amendment says the fund may hold long and short positions in digital assets. Only Bitcoin was mentioned, however. This isn't entirely a surprise. Scaramucci has been an increasingly loud Bitcoin bull over recent months. He actually appeared on the Pompcast from Anthony Pompliano. Is now's a better time than ever. This move comes as the backdrop to adopt Bitcoin has improved dramatically, especially for Wall Street investors. Jesse Proudman, the CEO of Strix Leviathan, a crypto hedge fund, remarked on the Skybridge filing. In this challenging global macro landscape, Bitcoin has grown as a compelling investment for institutional investment managers. Its momentum through the back half of 2020, largely ignored by the mainstream media and in retail circles, has been identified by firms willing to take on the risk of an asset class that has outperformed all others this year. Skybridge's indicative interest is the latest in a drumbeat of similar news and demonstrates that the early movers will reap the largest benefit from this trend. This is my quote for the night. Early mover. They still believe, even after 11 years, that they are early movers in this crypto space. What does that mean for all of you? You are early. Look at this. There is looming inflation, which should drive down the value of the US dollar. Yields are low, meaning the opportunity cost of owning Bitcoin goes down. Other markets, such as the stock market and real estate, have extremely high valuations. Bitcoin has been validated by investors like Stanley Drunkenmiller and Paul Tudor Jones. Companies are launching established custody solutions that should allow notable investors and even retail investors to store their coins at low cost and with little risk of hacking. I need to save this one. I don't think I have this. on all this, because like I told you guys, the reason why I'm flipping out on all this is because I'm currently creating some new lesson plans and I'm doing my research, and I'm seeing this trend, and it's sending off alarm bells all over my head. But here's the biggest alarm bell: are the wealthy hoarding Bitcoin? I've seen multiple reports over the last couple of weeks of not only wealthy people, but wealthy businesses and banks that have a monthly budget that all they're doing is buying Bitcoin and storing it. And then I think it was this morning or yesterday, a crypto talk about the U.S. government. Do I still have that article? The digital dollar. Yeah, this one right here. The U.S. The U.S. has $1 billion worth of seized Bitcoin. And they're deciding on how or when they're going to sell it. But look at this controversial opinion. The Department of Justice should not sell seized Bitcoins. It should begin stockpiling a national reserve of Bitcoin to back the U.S. dollar after the fiat era ends. Okay, I could talk for 2 hours just on this, but I got to keep this brief because I don't want to put you guys to sleep and go over your heads. This is why the billionaires are moving. They understand what's going on. When was the last time the U.S. government decided to stockpile an asset to back the U.S. dollar? Gold, 1933. They made it a law that nobody could privately own gold. They had to support because of the Great Depression and the war that was coming, World War II. So they had all Americans turn in their gold and in exchange for a gold bond, backed dollar. A backed dollar backed by gold. So much so that even to this day, people running around talking about cash is king don't even know that the dollar is not even backed by gold. A lot of people's first understanding of that was 2008. Remember the financial collapse? George Bush made a famous speech that many believe actually saved the economy. When he came on national television and told the truth, and he said, listen, guys, here's the bottom line. The only reason why the U.S. dollar is what it is because of your confidence in the government. Confidence. And people are like, well, what are you talking about? Isn't it backed by gold? And that's when people started to say, open up Fort Knox. We want to see our gold. Is it even still there? Fort Knox hasn't been open in what, 3-4 decades? I think the last time the public got view of it was before I was born. In 1971, Lyndon Johnson took us off the gold standard. My own brother was born in 78 and still believed that we were on the gold standard right now. Can you believe that? People don't even understand money. Why? Because it's not taught in school. We're only taught how to become employees, not wealthy. Wait a second. Why do I hear my own voice again? Wait. Oh, my other phone. Okay. So the government, and I consider that the greatest theft in modern history. The government took everybody's gold and gave you guys U.S. dollars that depreciates in value. The dollar today is worth only 10% of what it was 100 years ago. And now they're trying to create, where is it? No, not that one. Here, they're trying to create the digital dollar. And what is the digital dollar going to do? The digital dollar is a safety valve. It's a safety net. It's to continue United States dominance on the world when countries like Russia and China are creating their own digital coin so that they can avoid United States sanctions and make the United States weaker in the global economy. Every single nation is going to go to the digital economy and have a digital version of their fiat money. Only problem is, it is not decentralized like crypto. There's only going to be 21 million ever Bitcoin. It's digital, which means it's centralized. They control it. They can stop it. They can shut your account down. They can add more US dollars whenever they want to by pressing a button, which is going to create inflation. The value of that US dollar or digital dollar means nothing unless they stockpile Bitcoin and use that as a reserve to back the digital dollar. That's scary. You want to know why it's scary? Bitcoin is still in its early days. The market cap for Bitcoin is $310 billion. That's nothing. Gold is 10 trillion. The US government, and I said this morning for those that have been paying attention, if I was a politician and I'm writing up the stimulus plan right now, you know, because the next stimulus bill, they're debating between 1.5 trillion to $3 trillion so everybody can get their $1,200 check. But then there's also a section in there for businesses and for unemployment. They want to put the unemployment checks back $600 a week until the pandemic ends. That's what Joe Biden wants to do. And so they're fighting over the little details. I would throw in there, purchase $250 billion worth of Bitcoin. I'd buy up the damn market. Why would I do that? Because in 3 to 5 years, what is the value of each coin going to be? What's going to happen if I take that many coins out of the market? What is the value of the current coins going to be? So you end up paying for the stimulus just because you invested in an asset. Our government isn't smart enough to think on that level. Or they are, we just don't know about it yet, because this is what scared me. The DOG should not seize the Bitcoin. It should stockpile it. But they're not the only ones doing this. Now I'm going to switch gears. And I'm going to share a private sneak peek of a lesson that I've completed. Again, this lesson is created for the wealthy. This course. This is just one lesson in the course. And it's explaining to them why they should put their businesses and themselves and be involved in Bitcoin. Either you're going to be Blockbuster Video or you're going to be Netflix. If you do not adapt crypto and blockchain technology into your business, you don't start to accept purchasing or allowing the purchase of your items in crypto, you're going to be out of business. And it's only smart. People say, oh, I'm not accepting Bitcoin. It's too volatile. Are you crazy? If you sell a $100,000 car, because you can buy cars, yachts, and mansions with Bitcoin, period. You don't have to transfer it into fiat money. So let's say you drop $100,000 worth of Bitcoin on a car, and you're the dealership selling that car. You make your profit from whatever profit margin is in the sale of that car, but you've now got an asset, not money, an asset, $100,000 worth of Bitcoin. And then what happens when one Bitcoin goes to $100,000 each? So they use 10 Bitcoin to buy that car. Now your 10 Bitcoin is worth $1 million. So you sold a car for $100,000, but you have an asset that's now worth $1 million. You would be economically foolhardy not to accept crypto payments for whatever it is that you're selling. And the wealthy are starting to figure that out. But here's a sneak peek. I'm actually going to do this lesson for free, one time only. Wealthy institutional investors in Bitcoin. And I'm going to give my own commentary while I'm doing it, what I would normally not do when I'm recording the video. Billionaires are buying up Bitcoin. The world's wealthiest who want to buy Bitcoin do it through an office in West London's upmarket Mayfair. They're not going to Coinbase. They're not going to Gemini or blockchain or local Bitcoins. That's not where they're getting their Bitcoin from, like average people do. And the relatively new service is becoming increasingly popular amongst the super rich with an interest in crypto. The Dadiani Syndicate, which styles itself as an investment platform for maximizing your digital holdings and matches big Bitcoin buyers and sellers in a way similar to buyers and sellers of fine art, claims to have helped clients who want to acquire, this is what knocked me off my feet. They want to acquire up to 25% of the Bitcoin market, worth many billions of dollars. The wealthy are hoarding Bitcoin. The Dadiani Syndicate was set up by the art dealer Elisa Dadiani, who first began using Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies a few years ago in response to investor demand, and is operated out of the same office as Dadiani Fine Art. Last year, Dadiani Fine Art, in partnership with blockchain platform Maecenas Fine Art, made headlines after putting 49% of Andy Warhol's 1980 work, 14 small electric chairs, up for sale for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies via the Ethereum blockchain. The Dadiani Syndicate is described as a peer-to-peer network with people trading between each other. Dadiani claims her role is to put together people who want to sell and those who want to buy, just as she does in the art world. One of our clients approached us and said that they were interested in acquiring 25% of all Bitcoin currently available. Now, remember what I always say, when the billionaires figure this out, they can afford to play in this. The Bitcoin market is so low right now that the billionaires combined can buy it all up if they want to. But also, so can governments. The United States government can afford to buy every single Bitcoin right now. Let me not give them any ideas. A quarter of all Bitcoin currently in circulation, including those Bitcoin that may be permanently lost, is around 4.5 million coins and worth a staggering $38 billion at current exchange rates. Stop right there. Even though there's going to be 21 million ever in existence, there ain't 21 million on the market right now. You got to take into effect all those early coins from the early miners that are gone, people that lost their, if you guys ever remember, when was it, 2017 or 18, the Big Bang Theory had an episode strictly about Bitcoin. And Bitcoin was rising in price. I think by the time they recorded that episode, Bitcoin was worth maybe $3,000 a coin. And Sheldon and them mined it years ago on their laptop. And they were on the search for the laptop that had all their Bitcoin on it, because if they got it, they'd be rich. They found the laptop, but everything was wiped off of it, so they didn't get access to the Bitcoin. And once they're gone, they're gone. There is no recreating it. So we're talking about less than 5 million coins in circulation. That's nothing. According to Matty Greenspan, eToro's senior market analyst estimates, of the 21 million Bitcoin that will ever exist, many will not be mined for a long time, and many more are lost for good. Yet even a greater number of coins are currently being held by hodlers, a name for long-term Bitcoin holders who will not be willing to part with them for any price. Realistically speaking, there are probably less than 5 million coins actually circulating at the moment. Raoul Pal. Now we're going to talk about billionaires. Raoul Pal, and you guys are quiet. Type something in the chat box. Let me know that I'm still on Facebook Live before they shut me down. Co-founder and CEO of Real Vision Group says Bitcoin is a supermassive black hole that is eating gold, the NASDAQ, banks, bonds, and commodities. The global macro strategist notes that he also thinks Bitcoin will outperform the G4 central bank balance sheet, silver, and marquee stocks like Apple and Amazon. According to Powell, Bitcoin's performance is so dominant and so all-encompassing that it is going to suck in every single asset narrative dry and spit it out. Never before in my career have I seen a trade so dominant that holding any other asset almost makes no sense. The macro flows, technology, demography, and societal strains have all converged to this moment in time, and the definite answer from markets is Bitcoin. This is a billionaire making this public statement. Powell predicts Bitcoin will reach $1 million within 5 years. The former Goldman Sachs hedge fund manager says Bitcoin is the best opportunity of his career. This is why I changed my life in May of 2017, because I figured it out back then. The only difference between me and Powell is resources. That's it. I get this sounds a little evangelical, but I'm struggling to see it any other way right now. The supermassive black hole is going to suck in everything. Again, this is their best trade, investment, and future opportunity I have ever found, and it has the power to give the little guy a chance to grab their share of the wealth creation before Wall Street does. Grab it. What do I say? Cryptocurrencies is the greatest economic shift in wealth in the history of mankind for the most amount of people. But he said something powerful. He said, before Wall Street does. And the articles I just read to you before is letting you know Wall Street is already here. What about Bill Miller? Investing legend and co-founder of Miller Value Partners, Bill Miller, is offering a powerful investment case for Bitcoin, labeling it the single best performing asset in multiple time periods. Let me read that one more time. Investing legend. He's a GOAT. And co-founder of Miller Value Partners, Bill Miller, is offering a powerful investment case for Bitcoin, labeling it the single best performing asset in multiple time periods, meaning in all time. The Bitcoin story is very easy. It's supply demand. It's economics, not 101, but 0.01, which is Bitcoin supply is growing around 2.5% a year, and the demand is growing faster than that. And there's going to be a fixed number of them. Warren Buffett's been very quiet lately, hasn't he? I'll come back to him in a moment. It's been very volatile, Bill Miller says, but I think right now its staying power gets better every day. I think the risks of Bitcoin going to zero are much, much lower than they've ever been before. That's what they were all afraid about. Oh, Bitcoin's it's a toilet bulb. It's a bubble. It's going to burst. In recent months, publicly traded companies like MicroStrategy and Square have made multi-million-dollar bets on Bitcoin. Meanwhile, financial services firm PayPal is also hopping on the bandwagon after announcing support for Bitcoin and other major cryptocurrencies. Miller expects the emerging trend, look at the word he says there, expects the emerging trend where big money players enter the world of Bitcoin to continue. I think every major bank, every major investment bank, every major high net worth firm is going to eventually have some exposure to Bitcoin or what's like it, which is gold or some kind of commodities. What about Stanley Druckenmiller? See, I don't need to just pick one billionaire out there. There's many of them. Billionaire and famed money manager Stanley Druckenmiller says he has warmed up to Bitcoin and now owns the crypto asset. He predicts a steady decline in the value of the US dollar in the next few years as he expects inflation to rear its ugly head again. For him to say that publicly, he believes it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It is not going to be steady. When you look at the extraordinary measures taken by the Fed and the fact that they're monetizing the debt, I think it's a high probability that we get inflation he doesn't think he knows in the next 5 or 6 years, starting maybe in a year or two. Let me break this down in layman's terms. He's scared to death. He's making moves to protect his money. He knows this is going to happen. He's not looking at the next 5 to 6 years, starting maybe a year or two. He believes this is going to start next year. And he's looking at the next 2 to 3 years, not 5, 6. Okay, you got to be a billionaire whisperer. Particularly with the vaccine, now the economy could run very hot. Now think about what just happened today in the stock market. The stock market almost, did it hit 30,000, the Dow Jones? I saw it was getting close. Because of news, you've got Pfizer and, what's the other one? I forgot the other one. There's 2 of them, have said that their test results for the vaccine has come up 90% success and 94% success rate. On that news, the stock market jumped. But he made this quote last week before any news of the vaccine. Billionaires they make the news. They don't react to news that we watch day to day. They make the news. He knew this was happening. So let me read this part again. He says, particularly with the vaccine, now the economy could run very hot. At the same time, all the stimulus is in the pipeline. What does that mean? He's saying that with all that new money that they printed up for stimulus, eventually it's going, the check's going to come due. He says, at the same time, we have challenged supply chains between the United States and China. So he's saying that because with Donald Trump's aggressive nature towards China, the trade has been very strained. One thing, billionaires don't really care about political affiliation, Democrat or Republican, because they fund both sides of them. They care about how the policies is going to affect their bottom line. So you always got to think the way they think. With regard to gold and Bitcoin, I do own a tiny bit of it, but I own a lot more gold. Gold is a 5,000-year brand as a go-to asset in terms of inflation. Having said that, you know what they always say, whenever you make a statement and then there's a but, it invalidates anything you just said. Whenever you say, with all due respect, or but, like, I love your hairstyle, but having said that, here's where the truth comes out. I'm a bit of a dinosaur, but I have warmed up to the fact that Bitcoin could be an asset class that has a lot of attraction as a store of value both to millennials and the West Coast money. What does West Coast money mean? He's talking about Silicon Valley. As you know, they've got a lot of it. Now, this is what I find very interesting. He says it's been around for 13 years. Bitcoin ain't been around for 13 years. Why does he use that number? And with each passing day, it picks up more of its stabilization as a brand. So I own many, many more times gold than I own Bitcoin, but stop right there. Okay. When you see somebody saying something like that, a billionaire, even though he may say he owns many, many more gold, he could own hundreds of millions of dollars worth of gold, or $1 billion or $2 billion worth of gold, and at the same time own $100 million worth of Bitcoin. And to him, that's not a lot. To you, that's the world. So always you got to think like them. So he says, so I own many, many more times gold than I own Bitcoin. But frankly, and here is where he lets the cat out the bag, where he isn't dabbling in this. He isn't playing around with this. He says, if the gold bet works, the Bitcoin bet will probably work better because it's thinner and more illiquid and has a lot more beta to it. What does he mean by beta? It's like the internet, 1995. This is what he's looking at. Amazon first getting started. Real Vision CEO and co-founder Raoul Pal said that news of Drunkenmiller's investment is huge. for Bitcoin. Now, you've got to be impressed when other billionaires are gawking over another billionaire entering the space. Because even billionaires have mentors. All right? That's one of the things you learn about successful people. Success leaves clues. Every successful person still has somebody that they look up to. Raoul Paul's a billionaire, and he looks up to this guy. He says, the significance of the world's greatest, this is Michael Jordan, and most respected money manager, Stan Drunckenmiller, saying just now that he is long on Bitcoin cannot be overstated. That has removed every obstacle for any hedge fund or endowment to invest because they all copycats. They're following what the big dogs do. So they're like, what? If Drunckenmiller's in it, well, we better get in. We don't want to miss out. FOMO. FOMO alone in the billionaires is what's running wild right now, is what I'm seeing. Here's another billionaire. Famed billionaire hedge fund manager Paul Tudor Jones sent shockwaves to the investment world when he announced he was buying Bitcoin futures. Truth in advertising. I am not a hard money nor a crypto nut. I am not a millennial investing in cryptocurrency, which is very popular in that generation, but a baby boomer who wants to capture the opportunity set while protecting my capital in ever-changing environments. One way to do that is to make sure I am invested in the instruments that respond first to the massive increases in global money. Okay, let me break this down in layman's terms. He's concerned about all the economic stimulus around the world that governments are doing to protect their people during this crisis. Because all of that new money is going to devalue the money that they already have, which is why billionaires never have money sitting in a bank account. A billionaire doesn't have $1 billion in cash. They've got a couple of million. All of their money is in assets that's not going to depreciate. So he's concerned. At the end of the day, the best profit maximizing strategy, this is something you should write down here. Pay attention. The best profit maximizing strategy is to own the fastest horse. Just own the best performer and not get wed to an intellectual side. Stop right there. He's also talking about politics. He says some people are so emotionally tied to what they believe in, even if it's illogical, that they stick to it. You'll have people vote against their own interest. You have people that say, oh, I hate Obamacare, but they love the Affordable Care Act and not realizing it's the same damn thing. See, billionaires don't care about that stuff. He's telling you, do not be wed to an intellectual side, a side that says Bitcoin is the enemy. You know, this is why I was nervous about Donald Trump when he jumped all over Libra. And he said Bitcoin is a scam and not real money, and that cash is king and the dollar will always be the strongest asset in the world. The reason why that frightened me is because he has legions of supporters who believe everything he says, which could set back the movement or the adoption of the average person in this space. I said average person because the billionaires, businesses can care less what any president has to say. They're looking at the bottom line. So I'm going to read this one more time, and maybe this will sink in that you understand and get it. At the end of the day, the best profit maximizing strategy is to own the fastest horse. Just own the best performer. This is a jab at Warren Buffett, because Warren Buffett said that, oh, this is rat poison square, and oh, it's going to go evil, and it's down, and it's like illegal activity, and all that nonsense. But because he said it, he sticks to that ideology publicly. But privately, Warren Buffett invested more than $250 million in fintech. That's his way in investing in blockchain technology without having to come out and say, I'm investing in blockchain technology because I don't want to look like a hypocrite. Jamie Dimon can care less if he looks like a hypocrite. He said one time, I'm going to fire anybody that's doing anything in Bitcoin. It's going to get somebody killed one day. It's toilet bulb. And what did he do? 24 hours after he made that statement, he bought up most of the Bitcoin in the Swedish market, and they got sued for it and lost because he bought the dip. He was manipulating the market. And now he launched his own coin, JPM coin, or Chase Bank, or JP Morgan Chase. Okay, let me get back to this. Just own the best performer and not get wed to an intellectual side that might leave you weeping in the performance dust because you thought the Oracle of Omaha, you thought you were smarter than the market. If I am forced to forecast, my bet is it will be Bitcoin. Paul Tudor Jones, who has 2% of his assets in Bitcoin. How much do you think that is? 2% of his assets. It could be $250 million or more. He said, Bitcoin is an excellent hedge against inflation, which is expected to ramp up in the next few years due to central bank intervention. Let me give you a whisper again. He's not looking at the next few years. He's looking at next year. Unprecedented amounts of quantitative easing and balance sheet expansion, in addition to more aggressive commitment to inflation by the Fed, resulted in heightened inflation expectations. Bitcoin, according to Jones, is one of the best inflation trades when compared to traditional options like gold, treasury inflation protected securities, copper, and other more complex strategies. Here's his quote. Bitcoin has this enormous contingent of really smart and sophisticated people who believe in it. It's like investing with Steve Jobs and Apple or investing in Google early. You're starting to see another trend here. All of these guys keep talking about being here early. Paul Tudor Jones is an industry veteran, first rising to fame for correctly predicting the 1987 stock market crash. I was 9 years old. I was 11 years old. Known as Black Monday. Following his earlier statements, the Bitcoin community buzzed with excitement due to the endorsement. Some predicted that Jones would soon become the largest Bitcoin holder. How much money do you have to have where people think that just because you coming in, you can become the largest Bitcoin holder? Some see Jones's endorsement as a potential icebreaker for more institutional investors who may feel more confident investing in the asset class after familiar names have already made the leap. And I love this quote. People who understand the power of Bitcoin in this era will be one step closer to finding their financial freedom. I just shared with you guys something that keeps me up at night. It keeps me up at night with the excitement, anticipation, anxiety, frustration, all of those emotions rolled into one, because I recognize where we sit in this time in human history. And my anxiety is the fact that I do not feel that I am personally where I want to be to take full advantage of this. That's a personal thing. It's frustrating, which means in my mind, every waking moment, people think I'm playing with this. And I look at other people who kind of know about this and aren't taking it serious. I'm like, if you only knew what I knew, your every waking moment would be, how can I build my portfolio? How can I build my crypto assets? If all the billionaires are doing this, what do you think the millionaires are going to do? Because their mentors are billionaires. They're going to duplicate and follow suit. just so that next time they're on the golf course with each other, they're not going to be the stupid one out when they see their buddies talking about their crypto asset holdings and you don't have any. It's a status symbol as well. By any means necessary. This is forcing me, and this is a new revelation just within the last week. I haven't been myself lately. Those who are closest to me can attest to this. I haven't been myself. And I will be looking at ways that I can increase my portfolio by any means necessary legally, meaning I'm willing to step outside of my own comfort zone to do so. Because this time will never happen again. Your grandchildren are going to be like, they're going to be like, Granddaddy, do you remember when Bitcoin was less than $20,000 a coin? What'd you do about it back then? They don't even need to ask that question anymore because social media is recording everything you're doing and saying. And your grandkids, when they're adults, they're going to be looking at grandpa and grandma's social feed in between 2016 to 2021. Like, what were you doing? What were you talking about? Not once did you even mention Bitcoin or crypto. In fact, when you did, you laughed at somebody else that was doing it. Wait a minute. There was a guy offering crypto education, and you thought it was too expensive at $500? Are you kidding me? This education in this space is priceless. It's priceless. You can't afford not to be involved. I'm making it my goal to try to spread the word as much as possible. So I'm giving you guys a sneak peek on one of the new courses. This is just one lesson in the course that I am completing. And I'm speeding up the process. I've got 5 of them total. This one is for the wealthy, for them to understand, for them to see and be exposed to what the billionaires are doing and why they need to be involved and adapted. That also means so should you. Let me give you another example. Here's one way that wealthy people will understand as well. It's called compound interest. Compound interest. See, broke people do not know compound interest. Broke people know how to trade time for money. So I'm going to give you another quick, short lesson here. School does not teach compound interest. School teaches that if you want to be financially successful, you got to go to school, get good grades, and get a good, safe, secure job. If you want more money, you got to work more hours or get a second job. But there's only so many hours in a day. And yet the average person is working. The average person is working or living paycheck to paycheck. Paycheck to paycheck. Less than $1,000 in your savings account. Cannot afford a $400 emergency if it were to happen to you today without going into debt. So what do? Do what the wealthy are doing. The wealthy people live off of interest. They're able to pass down wealth from generation to generation because they never spend their capital. I was explaining this to a friend of mine, and this is how I got him to understand this. I said, have you ever seen the show P-Valley? Now, this is late night. I'm not going to say what P-Valley is, but those of you who know, know. And one of the main themes in the show is the selling of land. Land that was in one family's hold since slavery. They owned the land and passed down that from generation to generation. And there were 3 brothers. 2 of the brothers wanted to sell the land for millions of dollars. The 3rd brother was like, are you crazy? This is an asset that we pass down to our future generations. And he was like, oh yeah, I get it. I understand. I said, exactly. They could walk away with the millions, yeah, but you spend that. See, one of my biggest frustrations with me being in crypto is that I live off of crypto. So every time I got to spend my crypto on living expenses, it's killing me. I live off of it. It's like I'm spending this asset that I got to pay bills. You want to get to the other side of that. So let me tell you another way for you guys to get it. Let's say you want to buy a new car, and the average car costs $30,000, but you don't have $30,000 cash. You have $1,000 to put down. And they say, great, because we love you so much, we want to see you succeed, we're not even going to charge you interest. If you pay us $500 a month over the next 5 years, we're going to, you own the car with no interest that you have to pay, just $500 a month. At the end of 5 years, you spent $31,000 on your car. Your car, is it worth $30,000 now? No, what, about $17,000? It depreciates. You bought a liability and not an asset. So now you're out $31,000 and you have a 5-year-old car. And you're ready to do the same thing again to get yourself a new car so you can floss. Let me tell you what wealthy people do. They take that $1,000 and put it in something that's going to grow. Let's say the interest rate, since we're dealing with crypto, is 7%, not a year, but a month. And let's say they give themselves 5 years for this to grow. And they're compounding interest on this daily. And then let's say they put that car payment to grow their capital. Instead of spending it, they let it work for them $500 a month to grow that initial $1,000 balance. What does your account look like after 5 years? Let me show you. $500,000. So you spent $31,000 over 5 years, but you now have $500,000. As opposed to you bought a $30,000 car, so you spent $31,000, and after 5 years, you have a depreciating liability. This is why the wealthy stay wealthy and the broke remain broke. So not only do we offer the opportunity to be educated in the crypto space, we also offer opportunities so that you can grow your Bitcoin. I've been going now for more than an hour, about an hour and 30 minutes or so, hour, 15 minutes. I said a whole lot. I can go give a weekend seminar just on this, but it means nothing if you don't get yourself positioned. I am sounding the alarm because I'm nervous that I think the rocket ship now is going to take off before I'm ready. I see the billionaires and millionaires who, without a second thought, can just wave a finger, and next thing you know, they've got $5 million worth of Bitcoin. While we're busting our tail to get there. This is happening, whether you like it or not, believe it or not, understand it or not, or even want it to happen. It's happening. Your opinion is irrelevant. And for those that do not get involved, the worst case scenario, you still will be involved, but not on your terms. And you're going to go into your company one day, and you're going to see everything change almost overnight. Everything's moving digital. They're going to start paying you in digital. Your company's going to have its own token. You're going to wonder what in the world is going on. Welcome to the show. If you want to get your crypto education, go to www.3coursecrypto.com. 3coursecrypto.com. Get your education. Pass the word to your friends and family. Get them educated. Protect yourself. Get involved. And I'm going to end by playing a video that most haven't seen. I just uploaded it for the first time to YouTube. My latest promo video. So thank you guys for being here tonight and listening. I hope this made sense. But I also hope you actually take action. I'm doing a presentation tomorrow morning at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on compound interest, how to grow your Bitcoin. And I invite you to take a look at that. It's going to be on www.ceostraining.info, password 1111. I'll do a crypto talk before that. I'll wake up early enough. And then the presentation. Get in the game. You're going to regret it if you don't. Here's my latest video. God bless everybody. Bitcoin Brandon out. Good night. Oops, wait a second. Where's my sound?
From the beginning of time, man has always had a pursuit of the best quality of life possible. That quality of life is not possible without resources. The form of resources we have accumulated has changed over time from cowrie shells, state-controlled money, precious metals, real estate, and stocks and bonds. Over the past 100 years, the world has been dominated by the US dollar and its reserves. But everything that has a beginning also has an end. A new financial revolution is upon us with the emergence of a digital economy. The way we earn, spend, and accumulate resources is fundamentally changing. A new asset has appeared that the wealthy have overlooked. Bitcoin has become the best performing asset of the past decade by far. With only 21 million ever in existence, there are more millionaires and billionaires in the world today than there are Bitcoin. Just by holding 0.25 Bitcoin today will put you in the top 1% asset holders in the world in the next 5 to 10 years. If you would have invested $100,000 in Bitcoin in 2013, today it will be worth more than $15 million. Bitcoin billionaire RAOUL says, Bitcoin's performance is so dominant and so all-encompassing that it is going to suck in every single asset narrative dry and spit it out. Never before in my career have I seen a trade so dominant that holding any other assets makes almost no sense. This is not an industry you can afford to ignore. If you want to remain in business, then you must adapt. Are you offering services in Bitcoin? Are you accepting payments with digital currencies? Have you adopted blockchain technology? Blockbuster Video at one point was the most dominant video service in the world. They had the opportunity to be part of Netflix, but they ignored the changing technology. Where is Blockbuster today? Where will you be tomorrow?